And now, ladies and gentlemen, 12 rounds of boxing for the unified IBA and IBF Junior Lightweight Championship of the World. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing platinum trimmed with black and weighing in at 130 pounds. His professional record, an excellent 33 victories, including 21 knockouts, with 4 defeats. From Pensacola, Florida, ladies and gentlemen, here is the #1 ranked challenger in the world, Derrick Smoke Gainer. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing camouflage and weighing in also at 130 pounds. He has a perfect professional record consisting of 30 bouts, 30 victories with 24 knockouts. From Sacramento, California, presenting the reigning and defending undefeated IBF, IBA Junior Lightweight Champion of the World, Diego Chico Corrales.
Gave you instructions in the dressing room. Are there any questions? I want a good, clean fight. Please obey my commands. When I say break, step back. Defend yourself at all times. Touch gloves now. Let's go to work.
We've seen Corrales look wonderful against fighters who stand in front of him or come at him. Now he will be tested by a fighter who has great movement when he wants to. This will be yet another test.
One of Corrales' primary sparring partners to prepare him for the fight, Kevin Kelly, man who fought Derrick Gainer twice, winning the first by knockout, losing the second by decision. Of course, Corrales wanted to train with Kelly because Kelly, like Gainer, is a southpaw. But Gainer by far the rangier of the two southpaws, and he starts out trying to approach Corrales with a left-hand lead. Corrales just trying to move in and get a look early in round 1.
Don't grab him.
There's a hard left counter inside by Corrales. He has quick reflexes and good eyes. Emmanuel, Derrick Gainer is a fighter who in the past has averaged about 45 punches around by CompuBox numbers. And the belief on the part of the people in his corner is that he'll have to be more aggressive tonight against Corrales.
He definitely is going to have to be more aggressive because Corrales is putting the pressure on him right away. And it's really strange to see two guys this tall, nearly 6 feet tall, fighting at 130 pounds. So who's going to be the aggressor is the problem. But I believe that it has the makings of being a very good fight.
Gainer shows you his desire to be aggressive and to begin the exchanges against Corrales. As coming out of the break, Gainer whacked Corrales 3 straight times before Corrales seemed to be ready to fight again.
Corrales is putting a lot of pressure on him, and he's, for the most part, is catching most of the punches. It may look effective, but he's catching most of them. And going down the stretch, it's going to be how strong is Gainer going to be mentally as this pressure is continually applied.
Corrales says that he injured his right hand in the 3rd round of his last fight against John Brown. Has not been a particularly long layoff since that time. He went through extensive therapy to try to get the knuckles on the right hand feeling good again, and hasn't shown any reluctance to throw it in the 1st round here.
Well, he's going to have to throw it because I think Gainer is really emotionally fired up for this fight because more than anything else, he wants to prove something and to satisfy Roy Jones. I don't think Roy Jones has ever put so much interest in any other boxer other than himself.
Warning on this. Don't grab his head anymore.
Diego Corrales has fought 8 southpaws in his career and knocked 7 of them out. Some right-handed fighters, of course, have trouble getting going against the southpaw, and there's Gainer landing a left-hand lead and another left-hand lead as Corrales tries to move in closer.
He's landed about a half a dozen of those in this fight, and he's giving Corrales different looks that are confusing him a little at the moment.
Well, he's going to have to do it a long time. Corrales is putting a lot of pressure on him, and what has probably made Corrales effective with southpaws in the past is he throws right-hand leads very effectively. That's one of his best punches. And that is going to be very effective, particularly fighting with a southpaw.
And he fights out of an open stance, so he's ready to punch with either hand.
Yes, right. He's always in great position, much like a Felix Trinidad type style. Always in perfect position.
Good. One thing you're doing, you fucking feint, you gotta feint a little bit and go to the body a little bit more, okay? Feint and go to the body, okay? It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. When you spin out, when you throw your hook, sit down, you gotta turn to you, shoot your left hand on it, okay? That's a good round. That's a good round. Use a lot of feints, a lot of feints. If you move to your left and you come back to your right, drop that good straight left hand off. Then spin out with your hook, okay? You good to go? Give him a run. Keep it like that on the head. You're good to go, okay?
Are those left hands getting through?
Seconds out.
It may look, he may look so from 2 or 3 sides of the ring, but from that camera angle, blocked by Corrales, who has been told to start going to the body more. Emmanuel, the correct advice?
I think it's good advice, but what he's doing right now is risky, because if it goes in this pattern all the way through, he could lose a decision. But from what I can see, I know that Gainer's going to have problems holding him off with the way it's going, because he's not landing that effective on Corrales. It looks good to the crowd because Gainer's a very flashy puncher, much on the Roy Jones type, but he's not being that effective at this point in time. And Corrales is putting a tremendous amount of pressure on him, and I'm quite sure it's going to be more intensified as the fight goes on.
But Corrales in the first round put pressure on without throwing many punches. Now he catches Gainer and gets ready to open up a little bit. In the first round, by CompuBox numbers, Gainer threw 52 punches to only 16 for Corrales. So Corrales was saving his energy in round 1 and getting a look at what Gainer would do. Now he begins to cut off the ring with a little bit more of a purpose.
And also, if you notice there, it was the first right-hand lead that he shot off the back, which is one of his favorite punches. And I think as the fight progresses and he gets closer and closer, it's going to be a more effective punch in this fight.
Okay, don't hold. Don't hold. Box. Don't hold.
You suspect Corrales will be willing to take some risks against Gainer. He stated to us yesterday that Kevin Kelly told him Gainer, quote, couldn't punch a lick.
Well, I don't think Gainer's a devastating puncher, but he punches good enough to get his attention.
And I think he's a much better puncher than he was 4 or 5 years ago. He's a much better puncher than he was when he fought Kevin Kelly. He commits more to his punches now.
That's true, and it's funny. I thought the greatest fight I ever saw him fight was the fight that he lost with Kevin Kelly, when he lost basically by 1 punch. But he fought a great fight up until that point.
If you don't hear much noise from the crowd, it's because there isn't much crowd and there isn't much going on in the ring to inspire the crowd we have.
What's the significance of the relatively small crowd here, Larry?
Well, I suppose somebody might say that Floyd Mayweather Jr. has not yet gotten to the point where people have to feel they have to see him yet.
Gainer lands 2 left hands there. The first one flush on the jaw.
That was a great left hand. In fact, the normal fight he would have knocked out. He stunned him with that punch, but I'm surprised that Corrales is coming back.
And now Corrales comes back and begins delivering combinations as he corners Gainer against the ropes. Already Corrales makes clear that he isn't going to want to give Gainer much room to box. So Gainer's going to have to gain that room with his feet. And if Corrales can cut off the ring, he's going to force Gainer to fight his fight.
Perfect.
Here we see our partner, Roy Jones, sitting quietly behind the corner.
And aware of the monitor to his left, able to see that he's on camera. RJ, who involves himself in so many different businesses.
Take a little rinse. All right, deep breath.
Dig in the inside, my baby. Bring you in there, dig in there, okay? Side to side.
You looking good. We all right.
There's a good straight left.
Perfect left.
Momentarily stunned Corrales. Gathers himself and goes on to probably win that round.
But despite that, round 2 changed the momentum of the fight as Corrales threw 48 punches after having only thrown 16 in the first round, and by doing so he limited Gainer to only 26 output punches, half as many as Gainer threw in round 1. So Corrales shows that when he wants to be aggressive, he'll make it difficult for Gainer to get off.
You know, I'd also like to point out, even though Corrales is the taller of the two, if you notice, he keeps his hands very close, unlike most tall guys, very close, which means he's going to be more effective in closer range, even though he's taller, because he fights with his hands in a position where he can punch very effective by just twisting his body with punches. And he's going to be more effective going down the stretch than the shorter fighter, fighting at this distance right here.
Right now they're fighting in a phone booth, and you can see that Corrales has a comfort level with this. Can Gainer be as comfortable?
That's a big question.
Work. Gainer missing twice upstairs. Corrales punching to the body.
Corrales is more effective up. There it is. I was just going to say Corrales is still more effective, you can see, in that position, and much more comfortable.
A beautiful
short punches.
Perfect short left hook.
Yeah, and it was a punch that was effective because he never sought the punch.
Well,
Corrales is much more effective at this distance. Even though he's tall, the shorter punches are going to be something that's going to be very difficult for Gainer to see.
Textbook stuff as Corrales squares up with his opponent along the ropes. He squared his shoulders up, fired punches with both hands, didn't give Gainer a chance to move.
There's no 3 knockdown rule in this fight. Stopped it. Why has he stopped it? It looked to me as though Gainer was up on his feet and coherent.
I definitely feel that he should have given him an opportunity. I think it was a quick stoppage.
I don't get it.
I definitely feel that he should give him an opportunity. But that is the decision of the referee. Maybe he saw something that
stops the fight. Yeah, maybe he saw something in Gainer's eyes. There is a safety first mentality in Las Vegas, which is applauded by most in the sport. And Nady decides that, for whatever reason, Gainer shouldn't continue against a Diego Corrales who was making his imprint felt.
Well, as you said, the pressure ultimately got Gainer into this shoulder-to-shoulder, toe-to-toe exchange, Emmanuel, and that's not his fight.
No, Gainer still is from the school where he has a stylish type of fighting, and he has to have room. And Diego Corrales is much more comfortable at a shorter range, even though he's taller.
And how about the mustard Corrales got on the left hook in that short space, huh?
It was great. And the punches that hurt you are the punches that you don't see. And that was the perfect example. It was a short left hook over Gainer's shoulder that he never even saw. And it didn't have to be that hard. I felt that if the referee had permitted the fight to continue, the outcome would have been the same.
Somewhere along the line.
Somewhere. I don't think he would have made it much more than another round.
So you see the two-fisted talent of Diego Corrales, who took the first round to get a look at Derrick Gainer and try to figure what Gainer was going to do. Took the second round to basically force Gainer into fighting his fight. And then in the third round, destroyed him.
It was a systematic destruction job.
Beautiful piece of work by Diego Corrales. He makes his statement. And now we'll sit back to see what Floyd Mayweather can do. First knockdown, Emmanuel, and here's the left hook coming up.
It's the punch you don't see there. He never saw the punch, particularly when you're a southpaw. The punch that you're most effective to get with is a left hook, because all southpaws are watching for a straight right hand all the time. But the main thing is he was just too close on him. He couldn't fight effectively that close. And if you notice, Corrales is very effective at this short distance, even with his long arms.
An aggressive Corrales knew he was in a finishing situation, squared his feet and his shoulders so that he could fire at Gainer with both hands. Now let's listen to the conversation between Gainer and Jay Nady.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You okay? No, fight's over. No, I'm sorry.
Well, I tend to agree with you, Emmanuel, that the result was going to be the same, but I don't get the stoppage.
Yeah, I definitely think, and I heard him say that he was okay, and his eyes seemingly had cleared.
Let's go to Michael Buffer for the official particulars of the knockout.
Gentlemen, following the second knockdown, referee Jay Nady calls a halt to the bout. The official time, 1 minute, 50 seconds of round number 3. The winner and still the undefeated IBA Junior Lightweight Champion of the World, Diego Chico Corrales.